What's up, everybody? It's the Golf on CBS preview show where we talk about the event from last week more than we're going to talk about the event that's coming up. That's kind of what happens major weeks. I'm Shane Bacon and Patrick McDonald with us. Claire Rogers from golf.com is with us again. And Claire, you're kind of here. Are we here to pat ourselves on the back? Is that the point of this?
That's why I'm here. I don't know if that's why you guys are here, but
we like that a lot. I mean, we do a lot of predictions on this show. We do power rankings for the majors, then we do who can win and can't win. Did we all have Scottie on can win last week? I can't remember. I feel like most of us did. Did you have it, Patrick?
I think you guys got just about everything right, and I got just about everything wrong, unfortunately. So I'm just happy to be in your presence right now.
Presence of greatness. Claire, we had a segment last week where we went with like an insane thing that's going to happen. And literally Monday morning, at 9 a.m., it was like yours basically came to fruition. Can you remind people of what you'd kind of predicted?
I wanted Scottie in orange at the very least, something to give a nod to what happened in Louisville last year. And Scottie never wears orange. I went back 2 or 3 years on Getty Images. There was some like pastel orange, kind of like an Easter color. He had burnt orange on 2 days in a row. And Nike never puts their athletes in that. So I'm wondering if it was actually Nike who did it, because then we saw Brooks wearing it. We saw Rory wearing it, but I'm taking that as a big win.
I think you should. And then Patrick, I mean, Nike then comes out right after the win with that social, social post about guilty, greatest player in the world, guilty. It did feel like they kind of knew he was going to win. You know, it's like, there's the orange that obviously he was rocking the first couple of days. Like, it feels like Scottie is one of those guys that doesn't want you to know he's in on the joke, but is like firmly in the middle of every joke.
Yeah, and even afterwards, someone asked him if he had jokes about it. He's like, oh, I have a number, but I'm not going to be telling you guys about those. I think the one thing about that Nike, like guilty, world number one, guilty, I wish it was a picture of him with the orange polo on. I think that was the
worst.
It's a great point. Josh, if you can pull that up, I think Nike posted on their social and Scottie shared it as well. But it's a great post. Like Nike, I think Nike does as good a job as anybody in terms of kind of leaning into things and always having the right thing in terms of what to post about their athletes. And obviously Scottie's kind of the next up guy that they have on the men's side of things in terms of sport. But that was a correct prediction, obviously, from Claire. Good job, Claire. Way to go on that.
Thank you.
And then I had this whole like story of Bryson on 18 on Sunday, and he was good. There it is right there, by the way. Best player in the world, guilty. What a great picture. And also what a great nod to the insanity that is Scottie's golf swing. Like, he looks like a pretzel, you know? I mean, the legs.
Like, I want that in a t-shirt.
They should
I would wear that.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah. I'm with you, though. I do love the idea of the orange polo on it. You know, like, and I also wonder if the orange polo pops the picture a little more because it takes the green out from the golf course. But we'll talk to Nike about that. I'll call up the team in a little bit. But I had this story about Bryson, and he was going to make this. Think he was going to make this putt on 18 and throw his putter in the air in an ode to Arnold Palmer, and it was going to conk him in the head and knock him out. And he was going to be so confused and discombobulated that he was going to sign the wrong scorecard. Well, he almost did it on Saturday. I mean, he thought he makes this putt on 18. I think it was on Saturday, and he kind of almost cross-checked Tony Finau with the putter. It was subtle, and I couldn't really find the video across socials, but he almost took Tony out. It was close.
I did see it on social. I'll try and find it and send it to you. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He almost took his teeth out completely.
Yeah, I mean, it was like he didn't knock himself out necessarily, but he almost took out a guy that may or may not be on the Ryder Cup team. So probably not the best move. Tony was playing some solid golf, especially when he made the turn. But yeah, I mean, our insane, quote unquote, insane, stupid predictions. A couple of them, you know, were closer to true than not, I think, is probably the way to put it.
Yeah. Good job on you guys. I'm still holding out hope that maybe they play a second version of the PGA Championship in August for whatever reason. And you
know what, Patrick? Yours early in the week looked like it might come to fruition.
I know. I was feeling good about myself.
The weather was so gross to start, and obviously it improved. So I want to start here with the PGA Championship when we talk about kind of looking back on what happened, because what I've learned about the PGA Championship, and I really thought Garrett Morrison of the Fried Egg summed it up well. And I think we have the tweets as well from Garrett. But, you know, he was talking about the PGA Championship as a whole in terms of setup and the way it goes. And he said, you know, Kerry Haig would never put it this way, but they don't want the golf course to be the story, even though it always is kind of to start the week. They want to reward a skill that is kind of rewarded week in and week out on the PGA Tour. Hit it far. Don't really care if you hit it accurate. Short game plays, iron play, things like that. And the formula can lead to sleepy Thursdays and Fridays, but it typically makes it tight come Sunday. And by the end of the week, everybody goes, man, what a great PGA Championship. When you look back over the last 6 or 7 PGAs, you were like, it's a who's who of winners. It's been exciting in terms of Sunday golf. We got it again, obviously, this week at Quail Hollow. But my question is, was this a good golf tournament or was this a good golf championship? Because we crowned a great winner. Obviously, we get Scottie winning again. In terms of major golf, he wins another golf tournament, another step in the right direction in terms of checking off the list of what you want to win. But it's easy to forget what Thursday and Friday felt like. So Claire, like, was this fun for you? Was this a fun 4 days? Did it leave you wanting more? Like, where are you at in terms of the PGA Championship as a whole?
Okay. My disclaimer here is that I have never been to Quail Hollow. So like all the course discussions, like I'm kind of like, that doesn't really apply to me.
Right.
I don't think it was because Sunday, all right, whatever. Thursday, Friday, I'm like, that's fun for those guys. They get to be on the leaderboard heading into the weekend. Good for them, whatever.
It's
kind of like the guys who screenshot like when they're 1 under through 2 after teeing off at 7:40 on Thursday at Augusta. I'm like, that's awesome. You've got that for life now. But I think like Sunday was not fun because it's not fun when Scottie's not playing great, which he wasn't. And like what he ended up winning by 5, right? So there was about 30 minutes where I was like, this is going to get interesting, but it was only because he was playing bad. And then everybody else started playing bad. Like I like when the guys are playing their best golf and it's close coming 16, 17, 18, and it matters, right? Like I think that's why, obviously Rory didn't get off to a great start on Sunday at Augusta, but it ended up being a great finish there. And then we had the playoff. This was like, all right, Scottie's going to get it done. Is it going to be by 4, 5, or 6? Like even, I'm on the social team at golf. We had the winners graphic ready to go like 3 hours before. Like, I like when we've got 5 and it's like,
texted the
all
engraver,
right,
by the way.
I'm like, who should we post? Like, I think that's what makes a major really fun. But that's not fair for me to say because if it was like Tiger winning by 6, I'd be like, that was the best major ever. But I just think you got to have something, you got to have it be a little more tight on the leaderboard for it to feel like a really fun Sunday where I like to feel exhausted at the end of a major, emotionally exhausted. And I wasn't.
Patrick, you were there all week. I mean, you kind of went out and followed the big boy. You had an interesting experience in terms of running into past people in your life. How was,
they're not good.
That'll be Claire. That'll be an offline conversation. But
okay, love it.
Like, how was it? I mean, it's so easy to think about Sunday. It's so easy to think about, to Claire's point, the 45 minutes where it was Rahm and maybe Rahm's going to win this thing and Scottie can't hit a fairway, and then obviously it was inevitable, kind of starting on 12, 13, that it felt like it was going to be over. But like, was this a fun golf tournament for you in terms of Thursday through Sunday, what you won in a major championship?
I thought it was a pretty tough week to be the PGA of America in general, right? The press conference at the beginning of the week was weird.
Yeah.
Kerry Hay came out and said they're trying to make the media happy. They're trying to make the fans happy. They're trying to make the players happy. And so clearly they're in the people-pleasing business, not really the major championship business, it sounded like, after Wednesday. And then you had the weird mud ball situation where preemptively they said they're playing the ball down. You had the non-conforming driver stuff where, Rory obviously didn't talk about it, but at first the PGA of America also didn't have a comment about it either. Then they backtracked on that and released something. And then you think about the atmosphere on the grounds Thursday and Friday. It was sleepy. It was very sleepy. Should have called it Sleepy Hollow. Am I right, Shane? I know you like that one.
Boom. Get them going.
And
the first tee shots, like the grandstands were empty.
So sad. Yeah, you had.
He reminded me of the bus issue at the Solheim Cup. I was like, "What's going on here?" But okay, back to you, Patrick.
Literally, no. And I look at the way they set up the grandstands on the golf course and all the key points, 14 through 18. It was pretty much all corporate hospitality, and so the average folk, the common Joe, really didn't have anywhere to go. And I thought you felt that on the grounds, where there was one point on Friday or Saturday where Hovland made a birdie on 17. And those people are seeing maybe 5 birdies all day with how hard that hole is. And I was walking with Rick Gaiman. He goes, "Oh, was that for par?" I was like, "No, he just made a 30-foot birdie putt," and they're barely clapping for the guy. And so I thought all around it it didn't feel really like a major championship outside of those 30 minutes on Sunday and that stretch of 5 holes for Scheffler on Saturday. But outside that, I agree. It was kind of sleepy.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think you get lost in who won, which is part of this whole thing, right? I mean, if you get a great champion, it was a great tournament, and I've learned a little bit about. There's not a lot of people watching Aaron Rye.
Rye Army is strong.
No, not great, not great. They're probably going to buy another glove in the merch tent or something. But I was thinking a little bit about. The U.S. Open is kind of the golf nerds major, right? Every year we get to go to some incredibly historic golf course, and you kind of look through the golf courses that typically hold a U.S. Open. And for Thursday and Friday, a lot of those days are carried by we finally get to see an Oakmont, with the best in the world on it, or we finally get to see Shinnecock again that we haven't seen in a while, or Marion's involved. All these historic golf courses, Pinehurst number 2, which I know is going to get a lot of play, but it's a golf course that I think golf nerds love because obviously A, they get to maybe play it if they have enough money to go do it. And B, they kind of understand the history of it and how fun it is to watch the best in the world struggle on that golf course. I feel like the PGA Championship might be the sports fans major. It's typically at a less historic golf course or a little bit more of the modern day kind of big ballparks, 7,500 meaty. You may have seen it before. You may have seen it in terms of a PGA Tour tournament like Quail Hollow. I think the lineup coming up is pretty good for the PGA Championship. And I think when you kind of look through the next 5-6 years, it's exciting. But I was just thinking like U.S. Open Thursday and Friday is dominated by the golf course and how these people can navigate a place that, was in the rotation in 1974 and 1968 and all that stuff that maybe the everyday golf fan doesn't care about. And then you get on the weekend and it's all about the leaderboard and who's kind of contending. So I am just interested in, does the golf course matter to the everyman? Probably not, to Claire's point. Like it's fine, whatever. But I do think the golf course is a big part of the first 2 round conversations. And I do sometimes wonder if that's lost a little bit when you go, Patrick, to a place like Quail Hollow that we see every year.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It takes out some of the anticipation going into the week of discovering new things about this golf course where, I mean, we saw Quail Hollow just last year and kind of everyone knows what to expect from it. So I agree with you there. I think Quail Hollow is a great venue for a major championship with just how big it is and how much infrastructure they can fit. I don't necessarily think it's a great golf course, but like Claire mentioned, like you guys mentioned, 99% of golf fans don't care if the golf course is asking the correct questions or what. They just want to see Bryson, Scottie, and the big guys play well.
I have a question about the course. The Green Mile. Is it a mile long or is that just a nickname? Like I need somebody to, is it?
I thought about walking it last year and I thought about doing it again, but I didn't have the correct equipment with me, a pedometer. I only had my
phone. You forget shoes? Oh.
Put your watch on. I was going to say, you can put your
I don't wear
on.
Apple Watches are out, Shane.
Oh, okay.
But even they're not, these are not super accurate, but you might have gotten a good. I might email somebody from the PGA of America and ask.
Yeah.
When playing from the tips, is it a mile?
I mean, the idea, I think the point of it is like the Green Mile being the ode to the kind of the, whatever terminology and how tough it is. And that's the point of it. Right. And that's the idea of it. And it's so brutal in terms of a finish. I think that is something interesting about Quail Hollow. It's almost like what it would be the inverse of Augusta, where, players get out early and they can play kind of a tough stretch of golf courses and they play 10, 11, 12, and then they have opportunity. And the thing about Quail Hollow that is so, I guess, unique is all week the 3 hardest holes are the last 3 holes, so guys can get out running and they can get to 6 or 7 under. We saw that so often. We saw it on Thursday, we saw it on Friday, we saw it on Saturday, and we saw it on Sunday by players, right? Bryson on Saturday, whoever was 7 under, playing 16, 17, 18, and made a couple of bogeys on Thursday. I think Vegas, made a big mistake on 18 on Friday. And then obviously Rahm kind of running into some trouble there at the end on Sunday. Like every single day, a person was running and then they got clipped or tripped over the course of the Green Mile. So, I mean, I like that. I've said a lot that I like the idea of either I want it to be a birdie fest at the end or I want it to have a fear of bogey. Like, I don't want people to be able to just comfortably make par and win the golf tournament and not have any fear of bogey. And so, with that said, like I go to Mito, right, at Southern Hills. It's like, you get to AT&T, man, like you got to hit some golf shots to make par and win this golf tournament, right? Versus, just have, almost like LACC with Wyndham Clark, where the fairway was 70 yards wide, and even kind of the little poofy cut still finds the fairway, and he's going to be okay, right? So, I mean, in that regard, I do like Quail Hollow because of the finish, but yeah, it was just kind of a weird week. Like it just felt like Rory and the Rory's stuff and the drivers, and he played awful. I mean, honestly, like for Rory at Quail Hollow, it was such a bad week for him. Bryson drove it like as good as I've ever seen anybody drive the golf ball and couldn't wedge a golf ball within 20 feet. Scottie didn't play great, literally for like 2 rounds and wins by 5. I mean, we'll remember this for Scottie, and that's all that's important here. But it just felt like a kind of a strange PGA Championship from start to finish.
Yeah. And I think the best part, honestly, was watching like the Schefflers get to experience everything at the end. Like Bennett going into scoring, all of those little things are things I'll remember, but 100%. I don't know if I'll remember the rest. So
you don't know if you'll remember like the tee shot on 14. Yeah, it's like
exactly. I've already forgotten it actually. So
I'll play with the yardage book, and like the fact that he like couldn't give Bennett away was cute. And if you're a dad, you've kind of been there before and know that. Feeling Patrick, I did want to ask a couple of just like takeaways from your experience there. Outside of Rick doing the yardage, like the rangefinder from our booth to see who was on the range, which I loved, by the way. It made me laugh very much.
Yeah, I think honestly, my favorite part was watching Hideki do speed training.
That was great.
Friday evening from our booth on the range, just going after it. Definitely, it shouldn't surprise me at this point, but just how passionate Bryson's fans are is insane to me. I mean, I saw grown men in head-to-toe Crushers gear out there, and grown men
sobbing.
Like once they touch him, once they got a high five, they looked like they would never wash that hand.
It's again. Like Jesus. They're like, there was a miracle and I'm healed.
He's here.
He can walk
Jesus
on water,
with 194 mile per hour club head speed. Yeah, ball speed.
And
I want Hideki to go full Bryson, like do the gains, do the speed thing, whatever. But sorry, I interrupted you, Patrick. Back.
No,
to
you're fine. And I mean, underrated part is how good of hair Hideki has when he took his hat off.
Great hair.
Ooh, I don't even know if I knew that.
Oh, Claire, look at some old Masters Champions dinner pictures, and Hideki stuns. He stuns in those.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent flow. Underrated golf flow too. Considering how many hats you got to wear.
No, but I mean, like you mentioned, it was a weird week. I think getting the Bryson experience was fun for a few holes. When he hits the driver, it's like one of those gender reveal golf balls. It just poofs and is instantly gone within a second. And then I texted you, Shane. I was impressed with the way Matt Fitzpatrick drove the golf ball.
Yeah,
he slaps that thing out there, and that was something I was not expecting. He was hitting some drives further than Bryson, and then. Yeah, that's kind of outside of, I mean, my highlight or low light was my experience on 16 on Thursday. Outside of that, it was really the Scottie show.
I commented, the No Lane Up guys talked about this. I think the Friday guys talked about this, but the Bryson iron situation, considering the way he's driving the golf ball, he didn't putt great this past week, but he typically putts incredibly well inside of 10 feet. You look through the way Bryson has played the major championships as of late, really since kind of the move to live. I mean, T4th at the PGA in 23, T6 of the Masters last year, 2nd of the PGA, wins the U.S. Open, T5th at the Masters this year in that final pairing with Rory, and T2nd at the PGA. There's becoming a separation in major championship golf. It's like Scottie, Rory, Bryson, and then everybody else. I mean, even John Rahm's not on that list as of now. Despite the great play. But I do wonder, considering how much Bryson loves to tinker, is this the setup that's going to win him major championships with the iron play? Because he didn't hit his irons great at Pinehurst either on Sunday. He lost strokes to the field with his approach play, even on his way to victory there. And I just wonder, is this the right call? Because the irons misleft a lot. He has no idea how far they're going. You watch Scottie, it's hole high. You watch JT when he's grooving, irons are hole high. And then you watch Bryson, and it's like he hits it 375 off the tee. He's got 40-yard flip shot, and he hits it to like 25 feet every single time. Patrick, do you think he'll ever dive into like non-single length, super strong irons at any point?
I thought you were going to ask if he was going to go 4D, 5D, 6D printed irons since the 3D printed ones
that's more likely than my question.
So he did say at the beginning of the week that he has a set right now that he wanted to put in play, but he didn't for whatever reason, whether they're not quite to his liking, if they're still in the development stage. And afterwards, he said he's going to find a golf ball that flies straighter also, which if he finds it, let me know, because I would also like that golf ball, and that he has a few tricks up his sleeve for Oakmont. I have no idea what the hell that could be. It could literally, I think everything's on the table.
I feel like he also, for so long, like with the bulking and all this stuff, he was like trying to reinvent the wheel for golf. And I think he started to realize, like, actually, you don't need to do that. Like, you can just be yourself. And I think that's been great for him personality wise and like health wise. But maybe if he can get there with the irons, it'll be a really good thing for him. I'm not sure he ever will, but like, there's a reason nobody else is doing this and that it hasn't taken over. Right. So, yeah, we'll see. It's going to just be fully up to him.
I mean, because like, I think about his iron play, and I mean, he's definitely had stretches where he hits his irons really solid. It's just, it's more, to me, it's more about control. Like there's no real control with the irons. There's no creativity with the irons in terms of how he's hitting golf shots. It's literally like, I have 194. I'm going to hit 9-iron as effing hard as I can hit it. Like, I'm going to aim right side of the green, and I'm just going to absolutely smoke it. And like, I hope it gets there, and I hope it spins towards the hole. And like that, it works sometimes, but like, I mean, I just keep thinking about the Open Championship, or I keep thinking about Oakmont if it's windy. And I just don't think Bryson has a chance. And I mean, Patrick, we were talking on set this past week, and I thought Rick brought up a great point when the winds were picking up. It's like, he spins the golf ball so much. And I know obviously he's got a plan and get a straighter golf ball, but he spins the ball so much with his clubhead speed that, like, I just don't think he has a chance in tough conditions. Like, I think his only chance is if the winds are down and the golf course is relatively soft.
It's a weird kind of tug and pull where his driver is such a weapon that he should and will hit it on every single hole, but it also sets up the worst part of his game, that wedge, the touchy-feely.
Yeah.
100%.
And I wonder if he's diving into, maybe scaling back off the tee to get more full shots, like you mentioned, because down the stretch, anything touchy-feely, anything that required some sort of finesse or even fading the golf ball, he couldn't do. Think about the shots Scottie hit on Saturday, holding it up against the wind, and Bryson decided to ride the wind. And that was really the difference in the golf tournament there, that Scheffler has that ability and Bryson doesn't quite yet. So hopefully the 4D printed irons can do something like that, and hopefully the straighter golf ball can do something to help him out. But he's got to figure something out before Oakmont.
Oh, I mean, it's
before the U.S. Open. Let's do potential tricks up his sleeve that he has.
Oh, I like that one.
Josh, let's note that down. That's Claire, best.
That's why you're the first multiple time guest, Claire.
That's
yes. Am I really?
Oh yeah.
That's so exciting.
And you'll be back.
So
yeah,
honored.
I mean, like it's a great. I was thinking about that, Patrick, on Sunday. Is like you hit a 1,000,000-yard drive on every hole, and you hit it in the fairway almost all the time. And that's where you seemingly are at your worst, right? 40, 50, 60, 70 yards. I got a buddy of mine that plays golf like that. Like, he's a terrible, like, takeoff speed wedge player. And he's a really good driver of the golf ball. He hits driver on every hole, and then he just chunks his wedges and makes bogey. And I'm like, if you had iron off the tee, you can hit a full wedge in and you might have some success. So who knows? I mean, maybe that's what's up his sleeve. Maybe he's just going to hit a driving iron at Oakmont all day and win by 6 like I thought he was going to do here. We haven't really talked about Scottie. Is there anything to say, Patrick? Like, is there anything more to say about like this guy and the fact that, you look up and you've looked at your phone for 2 minutes and all of a sudden the lead's 3 and 4 and 5?
I think to Claire's point, he played like 14 holes of good golf. It felt like this week, the last 5 on Saturday and then the back 9 on Sunday. And then the rest of it was C+ type of game. And I mean, those first 2 rounds were so impressive just to scratch and claw a score and keep himself in the championship. But I think this is maybe the first time Scheffler is the most well-rounded player in the world. We always talk about the tee to green and the ball striking, but you looked last year, Xander was top 25 in every strokes gain metric. And Scheffler, obviously, his putter was serviceable, but still not good. It's like a weapon now. I mean, it kept him afloat at certain points in that golf tournament. And so, obviously, after these, we always project how many a guy can win. I remember for Rory at Valhalla, Nicholas said 20. And then Spieth after Chambers, people said 12. So it's easy to get ahead of our skis, but this is a guy who just like knows who he is, and he has such a good support system outside the ropes that it does feel a little bit different. To me personally.
Yeah, like the fact that he can grow, within this ecosystem of being this great is very unique. I mean, I think for me, obviously winning a major that wasn't at Augusta is just the step in the right direction, right, for what he's trying to accomplish. I think the next step for me with him is like, can you win a couple of majors in a calendar year? Because Xander just did it. But when you look through, like historically, the last 20 years of players, like Koepka did it, Phil did it, obviously Tiger did it, but not a lot of players. I mean, Jordan did it. Not a lot of players have won multiple majors in the same season. And I think when you start to do stuff like that, you're telling the world, like, kind of doesn't matter what pitch you throw me, I am still going to be able to get a hit. And I'll be interested to see what he can do. And also, I'll be interested to see what he can do at the Open, which is the one major where we haven't really seen him buck. Like, we've seen him play well, but we hadn't seen him put himself in that position to get it done. Claire, if I was going to give you the U.S. Open or the Open for Scottie this year, which one are you taking?
U.S. Open, I think. What about you?
Oakmont. Yeah, I think Oakmont. Patrick, you the same?
Yeah, I think he wins it.
Yeah, we're going to think he wins it. Wow, already giving it to him. We're going to do power rankings for the U.S. Open in a bit because I think I wrote it down. We're 23 days from the first round of the U.S. Open. 23 days from the opening round, like not from the Monday. I mean,
well, senior champ, don't they have back-to-back or senior tour? Don't they have back-to-back majors this week? They had one last week, and
they're at Congressional. Yeah, the PGA of America guys were. I mean, I won't say it. They weren't like stoked about having to go back to back majors.
Wait, it's the senior PGA is this week.
This week, yeah, the PGA of America is going back to back too.
Oh man,
and it was a Monday finish, so they just finished yesterday. Like they'll have two major champs in 1 week.
Oh man, hopefully all those guys are feeling great. There's also some dudes that are like in the Charles Schwab challenge field as well from the senior tour. But Claire, before we go, anything else you have from PGA week? Anything else you want to touch on? Anything else you want to praise yourself or pat yourself on the back for?
Well, I was just kind of thinking as you guys were talking about Bryson, like that style of play with the irons and just kind of hit it, whatever, reminds me of like when I would play junior golf with like my guy friends when everybody was like 19. Like they're like, I don't really care if I hit it close. I just want to hit it really far. Mm-hmm. It's like an ego thing. So that's kind of what it
Claire, that's kind of men in general, to be fair. I don't think that ever goes away. I think you do get to a point as you get older that you realize if I take a little speed off an iron shot, my handicap might go down. But I mean, I think in general, men were so dumb and we're so barbaric that like hitting the ball really far is kind of the only thing we care about. And I think Bryson, totally. And no offense to Bryson. I mean, I think that Bryson would say this as well. It's like he kind of encompasses that in general, right? Like, I'm going to bulk up and get huge. I'm going to put my own gym in my house. I mean, I covered Bryson when he won the U.S. Amateur. I mean, he was a slender, skinny kid, but still had the one-length irons. And I mean, I think Bryson loves the fact that people talk about how far he hits a golf ball. And I think we would too.
100%.
Like
it's like Thor's hammer too.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, but it's just so different from what you see like the women on the LPGA. That's like they just play smarter golf, I think.
100%. Well, again, you're also comparing men to women, which is never a good thing. Yeah. We are in
never
theory
fair.
The dumbest people of all time. But I mean, it's like I do think Bryson probably, even if he doesn't admit it, because I do think that something I've learned about Bryson is he's very Jack Nicklaus in this regard. Like he's never hit a bad shot. Jack used to just like, I never missed a putt on 18 green was a famous thing Jack, used to always say, like, and he would believe it, even though he obviously missed putts on the 18th green. You go back to that press conference Bryson had after Saturday, and he's like, I had a great shot on 17. It's like, dude, you pulled it like 40 yards into the water. It's like,
I love
but
that.
I think being
a little delusion.
But I mean, I think that's important to being very successful in this world. But I do think Bryson, if it's not this year, and it probably won't be this year, but maybe going into next year, if he dials in the irons or just tries some different stuff with the wedges, he's going to contend no matter what, because he's so good at driving the golf ball. But I think in terms of being a consistent winner of majors, he's probably going to have to hit his irons better to be able to beat a Scottie with a B+ A- game.
Totally.
Yeah, totally agree.
Claire, thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
the
you,
time as
guys.
always. Love having you. We'll have you on before Oakmont, and we'll dive
All
into
right.
some of those subjects, and we'll get some of your picks. And also, by the way, you threw Homa in there as one of your picks this past week, and Max
He's
played good
getting
for a couple
there.
rounds.
Yeah.
We're stepping in the right direction. That's the key.
We are.
To the week. But we got Justin Ray coming up. We got power rankings for U.S. Open, and we got picks. There's another PGA Tour event this week. All right, it is that time. Our man, Justin Ray, at home, dialed in. PGA Championship week is done. You can obviously follow him on Twitter if you don't already. I'm sure you do. 21st Group, one of the best in the world. Jay Ray, it's got to be weird every time you're watching like ESPN golf coverage on a Thursday and Van Pelt shouts you out.
Yeah, it's cool. I worked with Scottie years and years ago. I was actually the researcher on his radio show that when it moved to TV in the infancy of my career. When I was in Bristol, and that was probably 2009 or 2010. So it was a lifetime ago. But yeah, no, it's always cool to get a little shout out, especially from a guy like Scottie.
Yeah, I mean it's a week where we were diving into the stats simply because it was a blowout win. I mean, all this dude does, Scottie Scheffler, feels like his win by a lot. I mean, I was bringing this up. I was hosting the World Feed this last week, and we were talking a lot about Scottie doesn't just win; he wins by large margins when he wins. And I mean, it's kind of become a part of his identity as a pro golfer.
For sure. And so we know, it was said, I believe after the fact, that Scottie was the first guy since Tiger to win back-to-back PGA Tour starts by 5 shots or more. Of course, he also blew out the field in McKinney here right down the road from me, right before he won by 5 at the PGA. So I wanted to see, obviously, that leads me to ask, who's got the most wins by 5 or more shots? And I went back over the last 40 seasons, and obviously the name at the top is not going to surprise you. Tiger Woods did it 17 times. Tiger had 17 wins and 5 majors by 5 shots or more. He has a Hall of Fame career. 5 majors, most of any player all time. Second is actually John Henry Taylor, which is way back in the day.
Yeah,
clearly,
yeah,
obviously, that's the name you were expecting.
JH.
Yeah, 17 wins, 5 majors by 5 shots or more. You go back the last 40 years, second most, Dustin Johnson was 6, which I was a little surprised that he had that many. But you look at it, and there was a period there where he was able to spread away from fields too. Rory has 5. Davis Love III did it 5 times. Nick Price with 5 wins in that span by 5 shots or more. So those are the guys with the most.
So Tiger's a borderline top 10 player ever, just based on
just winning by 5
wins by 5 or more. You got another stat for us based on margin of victory?
Yeah, I think it was Frank Nobilo that said on the broadcast too that Scottie was the first player to win each of his first 3 major championships by 3 strokes or more. In the modern era, the only other guy to do that is Seve Ballesteros. But if you go back even further, the only other guys to do it all did it before World War I. So it's young Tom Morris, who was playing 12 holes, not even playing 18. Bob Ferguson, don't know Bob's work,
Bobby Boy. Yep.
John Henry Taylor. And again, he's making his second appearance on today's show.
Dog.
And James Braid, who you may know a little bit more about. But yeah, so only guy in the modern era is Seve Ballesteros, besides Scottie, to win his first 3 majors by at least 3 shots.
Jay Ray, I find Bryson fascinating at a number of levels, obviously. I love watching him play major championship golf. We talked a lot about the iron play today. What do you have on our big, beautiful, beefy boy?
So I thought it was an interesting collection of names of guys who have finished runner-up at the PGA in back-to-back years. It hasn't happened very often. You tend to have more repeat players finishing like back-to-back high finishes like the Masters because it's the same course. But there's only 3 guys who have finished runner-up back-to-back years at the PGA. Jack Nicklaus did it in, wait a minute, it was a year. He was 64 and 64 and 65. Dustin Johnson 2019 and 2020. And then Bryson the last 2 years. So it doesn't happen very often. I had on my notes that I'm looking in front of me, Jack Nicklaus 2024 and 2025. That's obviously not right. That's why I kind of staggered there for a second.
He's
but
back.
He did it back in the 60s, DJ, and then Bryson.
Maybe the digital form of Jack could accomplish that. I don't think the physical one quite yet.
Right.
We have another PGA Tour event this week. Jay Ray. Colonial obviously had some rework done to it, but there's a longest active street you got for us.
Yeah, so going back to Scottie, we talked for years and years about how nobody had ever won the Players' Championship in consecutive years. And then Scottie finally did it. First guy to ever do it, win the Players back-to-back years, TPC Sawgrass. And so, but actually Colonial even had an even longer streak of players of not having back-to-back winners than the Players did. The last guy to win Colonial back-to-back years, Ben Hogan.
Tell us it's JH. Tell us it's the JRJ.
I wish I could have tied that in, but it's actually Ben Hogan, 52 and 53. The second longest streak.
Damn.
Wyndham, a.k.a. back in the day Greensboro, Sam Snead, 55, 56, the last guy to win back-to-back there. So there actually are two longer streaks than the one that was snapped at TPC Sawgrass last year.
Interesting. I like those stats. I like the fact that the golf course can play havoc on players even when they're obviously trying to come back to it. And I'm assuming returning as a winner is a pretty stressful week for these players, especially modern players with like the social stuff you got to do and probably all the interviews and things like that. But I'm assuming winning back-to-back years is rarefied air at some of the tougher golf courses that can do that. So that's why you're Jay Ray. Anything else for us, Justin, before we let you run?
That's all I got. Not too much in the clip here. A little tired after a major championship.
We are as well. I do want you to dive a little into some Oakmont stuff, though, as we get closer, because you were talking a lot about Dustin Johnson, and I'll be interested to see what you find in terms of Oakmont, because I'm very excited to see how that golf course performs. It's been, a decade since we were there last. But Jay Ray, you're the man. We always appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks,
dude.
guys.
Patrick, I mentioned it, 23 days until the opening round of the U.S. Open. Are you ready? Like, do you even unpack your bag, or do you go full Keegan Bradley, just leave all the stuff packed?
I do not go full Keegan Bradley mode. I feel not emotionally drained, but physically drained after a major championship. Early mornings, long nights. So a little bit of a hibernation mode until Pittsburgh,
right.
I think.
Okay. We do power rankings every week as we get kind of closer and closer to these major championships. What do we have? Do we have Scottie won this past time? I think I had Scottie won and you had Rory won. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
You
So
got it right.
I mean, not like we're going out on a limb and going, wow, Pat.
No one saw that one coming.
We picked Rory and Scottie the first two majors. God, we're so smart. But Oakmont, side of the U.S. Open, 2016 was the last time it was there. Dustin Johnson won there. Kind of go through the history of the winners. You got to hit it pretty far. Hitting it straight helps as well. Angel Cabrera did that very, very well when he won there. And then obviously DJ drove it just right down the middle on him. Felt like every single fairway. Really the height of DJ Powers, by the way. So with that said, and I'm going to tell you this right now, my power rankings is very chalky right now.
Same.
I don't know if you feel that way.
Who
do you have at number 5?
This one won't do great on socials for us. Very bland.
Who do you have as your 5th?
Number 5 is Xander Schauffele. The top 20 streak in major championships came to an end. But Shane, listen to his U.S. Open record. T5, T6, T3, 5th, T7, T14, T10, T7. So seems like this guy's going to finish inside the top 15 at worst at Oakmont if he doesn't have his A game. I think he's pretty close also. Just didn't really get off the bus the first 2 days, it felt like, and then found a little bit when he was out of contention, unfortunately. Who's your 5?
Same. I got Xander at number 5. Josh, producer Josh, saying 1,134 days between top 20 finishes in majors for our boy Xander. I was thinking about this. Like, I said it with Jordan going into the PGA, and obviously that didn't happen. But like all of a sudden, this Grand Slam talk feels like it's everywhere. It's like Rahm had a chance to win. He was going to knock off 3 of 4. Now Scottie's 2 away. Xander, as you mentioned, has a real good chance at Oakmont. Now all of a sudden he'd be 1 away. Like we went we basically went from Tiger to Rory. What was that? 20 whatever years, 25 years or something between Grand Slams happening. And now it feels like all of these conversations are happening around it. And it feels realistic. Like it doesn't feel like we're just throwing names out there. Like Xander feels realistic. Scottie obviously feels realistic,
Yeah, I think it's 2 parts. It's just because it just happened with Rory, and we're never satisfied as golf fans. We always want more and more and more.
Yep.
And then, Shane, you look at the recent major championship winners. It's Xander twice, Scottie twice, Rory, and Bryson. It seems like I'm not saying the underdog is dead in golf. We obviously had Harmon and Clark there only a couple years ago, but it does seem like there's some real separation from the top and everyone else right now.
And it feels like this golf course, more than any at Oakmont, is going to separate the real
Yep.
players from the fake ones. So I got Xander 5. I got Rahm 4.
I've also got Rahm 4. So
I mean, this is going to be pretty chalky, I think.
This is going to be very chalky. Love to see him back in the mix. I think we said it all week. Major championships with Rahm are just better. He has a presence. He has a bit of an it factor that I don't think a lot of guys in professional golf have. And then I think putting himself back into contention, it was really the first time since his Masters win he was in that position. And I think we saw it with the short game shots late in that tournament. Maybe the sensations and the feelings surprised him a little bit, but he'll be ready for Oakmont.
Yeah, bunker shot of 14 was pretty trashy. Putt. I mean, I think he was trying to make the one on 15. I didn't read his transcript after, but I think he knew he needed to make eagle at the par 5. And so running that by 5 feet, birdie wasn't going to do much, considering Scottie still had those holes to play. But for a moment, it felt like he might do it when Scottie was kind of missing it left on the front 9. Rahm 4. I got Rory 3.
Oh,
Rory
okay.
number 3 at Oakmont.
Gotcha. I have Bryson as number 3
Okay. All right.
at Oakmont because of that iron play you talked about so much.
God, just the driving of the golf ball at Oakmont. I mean, I've played it a couple times. Like,
oh, what's your best score?
Man, I played it in 2016 before that U.S. Open. I think I broke 80, and I played pretty well. I think I might have shot like 78 or 79 and played well. And I think the other round, like back-to-back days, might have been like 87 or something. I mean, it's, you start spraying it off the tee there in the thick rough, and I mean, it is almost unplayable. But I love that golf course. I think it's one of the best golf courses in the world. So my point is this: I feel like Rory has been the best player this year, right? I mean, even coming off the win from the PGA, Scottie, and he's the best player in the world. I think Rory's been the best player in 2025. The thing about Rory coming off I almost called it the Wells Fargo, coming off the PGA is there's still something I don't love about the way he's played major golf. Like, that's 5 major rounds in a row now. Because he didn't play great the final round of the Masters, right? I mean, what did he shoot, 73?
Mm-hmm.
So you're 5 major rounds in a row. I think if he shoots 69, 71, 70, and finishes 5th and is not really in the conversation, I'd probably have him at 2 on my list here. But that was a weird week for Rory.
Yeah.
Like, one of the weirdest weeks in a long time, with the no media thing and the driver and him playing that bad on a golf course he's been dominant on. Like, I don't know where the headspace is, but I don't love where it's at. And that's kind of where I'm at. So that's why I have him at 3.
Yeah, I think in hindsight, and I kind of touched on it a little bit, a letdown almost felt inevitable, right? You accomplish your dream of dreams, and then everyone's like, oh, he's just going to go on a run now. People were calling him unburdened. He has no stress at all. And like you mentioned, players kind of playing tricks on the media. It felt almost like the non-conforming driver thing was him not talking was almost like, okay, you guys tested my driver. You deal with it. I don't want to deal with it. Let's make this a bigger story than it is. My thing with Rory and having him too is he's really made it an emphasis to play U.S. Open golf a lot better this last half decade or so. And so back-to-back runner-up finishes and then 4 straight top 10s before that also. That's why I'm giving him the nod over Bryson, even though Bryson is the 2-time champion and the defending champ.
Yeah, I mean, you forget that Rory, and I mean, we've talked about this, like basically from 2016 on till 2022. Rory's major record, he'd sprinkle in a top 10. I mean, he's so talented. Of course he would. But, I mean, he missed 3 straight cuts in U.S. Opens, missed a cut at Oakmont. It was like he kind of felt a little lost in the majors. And then really since then, I mean, you look at this here. I mean, it's incredible what he's been able to do in this specific major. And I also think Rory, for whatever reason, I think Rory looks at the U.S. Open as like the toughest test in golf. And I think for him personally, he looks at it like, am I the toughest golfer in the sport? And I think he thinks he is. I think he thinks, oh, you think it's a little bit like how Rahm talked about, I can't move the media talks about how I can't move the ball both ways. Let me show you how I can. like Rory's record at the U.S. Open feels like, let me show you how good I am at this. But just in terms of the golf course, I think Bryson will be able to carry a lot of the trouble at Oakmont. And I think his floor is like a top 10. Like, I just think that's how good he's driving the golf ball. All right, I have, obviously, then we know the rest of our lineup. I got Bryson 2. You got Rory 2. We got Scottie 1.
Scottie is 1 this week for me. I think he's going to win, and then we'll be talking about Rory trying to win at Portrush and Scottie trying to win at Portrush.
If you had to take that list of 5 players or everybody else in the field, are you taking the list of 5 players we just put together?
1,000%. I wrote about that yesterday too. Funny enough.
I mean, I would say like Ludwig's not playing good. He's probably the one guy on that list that if he found a little bit of game the next couple of weeks, I like his chances as well. But I'm trying to think of who else. If you were going to give me 3 other guys, like who am I taking? I just have a hard time wanting anybody else, you know?
Yeah, it's Morikawa if it's playing like super fast and it doesn't rain or anything, and he's able to kind of get out there in a different way, not all carry, but using the ground game a little bit. Shout out to Iowa football. But it is those 5 guys right now, and then just everyone else. And I think
Shane Lowry on my list as well. Like, I just think, again, it depends on how it plays, if it's windy, if it's tough. Just in terms of the pitching and stuff, I love. I could talk myself into Lowry during U.S. Open week. I mean, he played well there in 16 as well.
Yeah, I think he had a 3-stroke lead going into Sunday. Him and can you remember the third guy in that conversation going into Sunday?
Well, I mean, it was
Lowry, DJ, and.
Well, I know Daniel Summerhays had a great week that week. I remember that. And then Andrew Landry, right?
First round leader.
He was in the hunt as well.
On Sunday.
Scott
Piercy.
Scott Piercy. That's right. That's right. Interesting. That's I mean, that was a weird week. I was doing interviews that week for Fox because we had the US Open then. And the weather was kind of playing havoc on the golf tournament. I think at one point I had to get there on Saturday or Sunday morning real early to interview some of the players finishing up their round before they went back out. And then I had a huge gap of time before the final round. And I took a nap in the sauna in the Oakmont locker room because they used it as storage that week. So I got like 3 towels and laid them down, and I took a nap in the sauna because it was the only place I could find a little bit of peace. The sauna was not on, by the way. So
I thought that was my next question.
Yeah, it was not on. All right, let's transition. Charles Schwab challenge this week. PGA Tours rolls on, baby. No weeks off. Why would we? That would be so silly. That would be a dumb thing to do. Can win and can't win. You got anything on the Schwab, by the way? Anything you like anything you got on the golf tournament? Anything on the field? Anything like that?
Second year since they kind of blew it up, right? So a little bit different than what it's been historically, but honestly, a pretty solid field, all things considered. You get the Texas boys, obviously, Scheffler and Spieth, but Hideki, bunch of PGA guys in the mix, Siwoo, JT Poston, defending champion, Davis Riley, who's playing some really good golf. So obviously tough just to come back, but good field. That's really all I got.
It's what we do. All right, I got can win. I got Jay Spieth, missed the cut. Played well in that second round after playing terrible on Thursday. Couple extra days off. Maybe he's working on the game. Who knows? But I don't know. Maybe he's a little more refreshed coming in than some of the other guys. So home game. Spieth he's flashed a little bit this year. Like, I mean, is he going to win a major? No, but he's flashing at some of these, maybe middling PGA Tour events. So I think Spieth has a chance to get it done this week.
I like that. Can win for me. Scottie Scheffler, Daniel Berger. He's a hot putter away, Shane, and a winner at this golf course. And then I will go with how about Harris English?
I got him on my list as well.
Playing himself into that Ryder Cup conversation.
Yeah, I got Spieth. I got Harris English can win. I got Bud Cauley on the list as well. My 3 can win. Can't win. I got Scottie on my can't win list. I don't think he's winning this week. He wins 3 weeks ago. He wins the PGA. I just don't see him winning 3 in a row headed into another event. But, I guess for Scottie, if you're looking at things you haven't done yet, it's like go on that run, try to win 4 or 5 in a row before the U.S. Open, right? I mean, that would be a fun little wrinkle to the Scottie Scheffler storyline. But I don't think he's winning this week. I think he finishes 4th or 5th.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
I got JT posting as well. Put a lot of energy, spent this past week playing well at Quail Hollow, and then I got Blocky on my can't win list as well. Who you got?
Way to go out on a limb.
Thank you.
Olin Brown can't win. Corey Pavin can't win. Kevin Kisner can't win.
All right.
I'll go with Fleetwood. I'll go with Hideki, and I'll go with Siwoo.
Oh, man.
Can't wins.
Golly, Siwoo was so fun to watch play golf, man.
Awesome.
He might be my favorite golfer in the world to watch play.
Awesome. So much fun. So much fun.
This does not take any shot off. Like, every single shot is full bore, man. I mean, I don't know if it's going to work out in his favor in terms of winning golf tournaments, but it is like, if I'm going to pay and go watch a golfer, he's probably near, if not the top of my list.
Did you see the Golf on CBS social clip? Colt was kind of just messing with the guys on the range. And he told Scottie when they went from 2-sums to 3-sums, he's like, "Oh, your third C will." And Ted Scott's like, "Oh, that's going to be so much fun." And then they're like, "Yeah, he's so good." And then they're both like, "Yeah," until he decides to hit this random flop shot when you just don't need to at all.
Just chip it on the green, man.
Yeah.
Make your 4. And he's like, "No, I'm gonna take it upstairs. You don't want to mess with that." It's just I mean, again, he's amazing. Who's your winner? Who are you picking to win?
My winner is Scottie Scheffler. Last time he
Wow.
won a major championship, Shane, you know what he did the last week? He won.
He won a Heritage the next week. Yep.
And I think he wants this one. He's been close. He won the Byron, obviously, but Charles Schwab, whenever you can win that one with that name, you gotta. So
gotta do it.
My
I mean,
winner.
if you're gonna do it, you got to do it. I got Harris English as my champ. Like you said, I think riding the wave. There's something to be said about a great final round when you're not really quote unquote in it, right? I mean, he goes out there, makes that birdie on 18, all of a sudden shoots 65, and then leaderboard gravity happens, and you finish second, make whatever a cool, $2 million. So I like him this week riding that into it. My sleeper, Max Gracerman. I like him. He's been playing some solid golf, 5 straight. I'd say solid golf tournaments. Didn't play great on Sunday at Quail Hollow, but was kind of in the mix. Got to straighten the driver out a little bit on this golf course, but Gracerman is kind of my sleeper. Who you got?
I'm going deep. Very, very deep.
Blocky deep.
A PGA Tour winner this season, Shane. A guy who's made both major cuts.
Okay.
Brian Campbell.
Ooh.
Quietly playing some good golf. He hasn't been playing golf courses that really suit his game. Not a big bopper. So I like him at Colonial, where you got to find fairways. The iron play has been in fuego for Campbell.
Blocky makes the cut or no?
No, I do remember, though, after Oak Hill, when he played this tournament, the missed the cut line was somehow only minus 200.
I remember that too.
And they're not offering it this year. I'll tell you that.
No, not at that price. I can promise you that. Who knows? I mean, if their fans come out, he might shoot something crazy. If the Dallas contingent shows up. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun. I mean, listen. End of the day, a fun week in Charlotte. Charlotte's a good town. It was good to hang out with you guys on the set for a bit. And again, like, I root for history at this point in my life. Like, I'm at a point where when I watch sports, I want to see something happen that's never happened before, or I want to see somebody add to their legacy. And Scottie adding to his legacy was important. And also, like, don't you think the PGA of America needs to get something to seal the top of the Wanamaker?
We were talking about that. Why is it not taped shut or something?
Or just tape it shut for the ceremony.
Yeah, exactly.
That thing comes flying off.
Wow.
But, here you go.
Producer Josh.
Wow.
Had it in the bag.
Wow. That was your best bet.
Yeah, don't look at the season results there. That wasn't a great year for me. But
that's okay.
Yeah.
We'll see what Blocky can do. Patrick, always appreciate the time. Big thanks to Claire. Big thanks to Jay Ray as well. We'll be back next week, wrapping up Charles Schwab and looking ahead for the remainder of the season, and also talking a little bit more about the U.S. Open.